Whoa, hey, awesome, 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 awesome. A very appropriate way to start off our press conference today. Fillmore has such a rich heritage with jazz, blues, and R&B. On behalf of the New Community Leadership Foundation, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out. I'd like to thank the press, community organizers, businessmen and women, and concerned community members of this ever-changing Fillmore district. The NCLF has called this press conference to bring attention to the issues revolving around the sale of the Fillmore Heritage Center, formerly called Yoshis. Specifically, the need to create an oversight board. We hope to motivate Fillmore business owners and residents to apply for membership on this oversight board that will seek to hold the new owners accountable to the proposed community benefits package that was presented by the NCLF in 2015. We need community-conscious business owners, people from nonprofit organizations that service our community, and residents who wish to see the Fillmore grow without leaving its longest and neediest residents behind. This board is just the first step towards creating a more equitable relationship between Fillmore residents and developers who wish to do business in our community. We have several speakers today who will delve into the particulars concerning the Oversight Board and the sale of the Heritage Center. You will hear about the history of the Fillmore and why the creation of this Oversight Board is so crucial and important. The historic neglect and mistreatment Fillmore residents have received at the hands of business developers, real estate entities, and in many cases, our own city has to stop. Before I conclude, just an FYI, after today's press conference, applications will be available and the link to apply online will be passed out as well. Applications will be accepted from November 2nd to December 4th. So with no further ado, I'd like to introduce the Right and Honorable. I'd like to introduce the Right and Honorable Pastor Eris Edgerly.
Good afternoon. I want to say also behind Hugh Gregory is thank you for coming out, press and community members. It's nice to see everybody come out. We got to do this more often other than things like this, of course. But just a little history is, as I stand here as a member of this community through generations, I stand with the NCLF on this oversight board. Just, before Yoshi's opened, the Fillmore was, I guess, going through a change. And Yoshi's was supposed to bring back what was the Fillmore. Just me personally, I don't think you can ever bring back the Fillmore. You stole it. You snatched it from us. You destroyed it. There is no bringing it back. We can recreate it, reform, as my brother Ace always says. We can reformat it, recreate it, but you can never bring back what you've done to this community. And it's continuously. Before Yoshi's opened up, they had put out either 10 or 20-year CD without one African-American artist on their CD. That was a problem. But then you come into a historic neighborhood, and the city allows you to come and open on that note, get millions of dollars, and just walk away. And just walk away with no accountability. This whole building, a multi-million-dollar project that's supposed to bring back the Fillmore. Loan after loan, bailout. You remember the whole bailout when the whole country is getting bailed out? They created a bailout for the Fillmore, for this block here. They gave millions of dollars, and they still just walked away with no accountability. I'm just go back to Oakley with no problem. So that's what this board is about. It's accountability. And if we have to stand here day after day and create accountability so nobody will open without the accountability, then that's what it's going to take. It's go back into that spirit of what they done back when they was trying to really destroy the Fillmore, when you had folks laying down in front of bulldozers. You had people losing their lives for the accountability of the Fillmore. This certificate of preference. A piece of paper that was supposed to bring back the Fillmore. That was supposed to bring back the Fillmore. A certificate of preference was supposed to bring back the Fillmore. There's not one person on Fillmore Street that has a business that was here 30, 40 years ago from that certificate. So if they want to bring back the Fillmore, it's going to start with us as a community. And us as a community have to join together and say it's accountability. It's no separation amongst us. It's accountability amongst us. Whether we have a supervisor from this neighborhood or a new supervisor coming in, everybody needs to be accountable. From us community members, us organizations, we all have to be accountable for what's being played and done in our community. Them backdoor deals, them cash under the table, you getting something and acting like you ain't getting nothing. We're getting more black businesses that are on their way out. We have 2 on Fillmore and Gary. We have a hair shop and a barber shop. We have a hair shop that's been here for 10 years, a barber shop that's been here for 50 years and generations. If they want to help and put money into this community, let's rebuild this community. But let us have the say-so where the money goes this time. Let us say who owns and what they can do in this building this time. But I want to thank you all for coming out again and pass the mic back over to Hugh Gregory.
Thank you, Pastor Ayers. Up next, I'd like to introduce former NCLF President Daniel Landry.
Good afternoon, everyone, and we definitely thank you for being here today for this crucial moment. I'm just going to get right into it. The Distribution Development Agreement was established by the San Francisco Redevelopment Agency, the city, in 2004. Years later, this building, the Heritage Center, was built. It came in during a time that we know the economic situation had failed, and we had all the problems of 2008. Now, whether we're a nonprofit organization, whether we're businesses on the corridor, whether we're homeowners, whether we're just people who sympathize what's been going on with the redevelopment projects throughout the United States, we're in a critical time because now you can see if things don't come from community-driven, if the community don't hold accountable those who say they represent the community, i.e. whether it's a leader, whether it's someone at City Hall, whether there's someone who's been working in liaison to the community as a bridge, we see the results. We see the results of years of ignoring a community that was impacted by the San Francisco Redevelopment Agency. So now how do you correct that? Number one, you have to identify those who was mostly impacted by this agency. We can't use buzzwords and spin words and try to back up or moonwalk out of a situation that was created by government. Now, we have a responsibility, the people. And the people of San Francisco should be in lockstep with the residents who was born and raised here in what we call the Fillmore. There should be no arguments, no disagreements when it comes to grassroots organization and people working together for a common cause. Now, the NCLF, as well with other many organizations, sat down and seen the reality of community benefits. If a developer want to come in this community, if an entity or a business owner want to buy property, it would make sense in an ideal world to include the grassroots. And the only way you can come with a win-win, and the only way that you can make sure that these businesses doesn't fail on the corridor of Fillmore Street is to include those who's already been impacted and who's been here. That's intelligent. That's something that has to happen on the Watch a Mayor League. Now, we don't know the position of our supervisor when it comes to the oversight board, but she have said out of her own mouth, because she's from the Fillmore area, no one will come in here and ignore this community. We applaud that effort, but now we need to see action. We need to see action from our city officials. We need to see action from even Jerry Brown, who took the money away from redevelopment. And now we have this local OCII. We have no meetings taking place. We're in the dark. No transparency. We created a request for proposal process with the support of these communities. These people ain't just standing back here looking handsome and great and good. They have put in work. And that work need to be acknowledged. You have put in work. Those who have came over the years and recorded this plight of our community is something that needs to be applauded. But it's now time for action. And the community benefits plan is what the community is proposing. And we want to see quickly a plan of action coming out of our city hall to show hope for the community. Because as well as 1,300 closing and businesses continue to leave the Fillmore corridor, it's getting darker and darker and darker. In this period in time, we're running out. So what we see as an organization is community benefits package that's grassrooted and, of course, community driven. In that package, what we presented in 2015 is 10 points. From 1 to 10, it all includes businesses, organizations, just everyday workers. But it makes sure that, like what Pastor Ayers was saying about the certificate of preference, me being one myself, that we have at least a shot to purchase condos, that we have a preference. If you're going to put a business on Fillmore Street and you want to seek outside businesses or even the tech community, well, then we need to work together. But you got to acknowledge businesses of the past who was not able to be here because of the redevelopment project and eminent domain, and the list goes on. So I'm not going, because I can go on all day long too, but I just wanted to just share the community benefits plan. It's community driven, it's organic, it was vetted, it went through tons of organizations. I can't name all of them, but the Fillmore Bay Area Media Group, as well as St. John's Coltrane Church, and even the African American Preservation Committee, we sat down and said, how can we be inclusive? Because we know our community have suffered because of division. And oftentimes that be the real main reason why we can't move forward. If I got a plan and the guy over across the street got a plan, now we arguing how long we've been in Fillmore. Oh, yeah, I got a plan, you got a plan, but I've been in Fillmore longer than you've been in Fillmore. And we continue to go back and forth. Next thing you know, 40, 50 years done passed, and we still trying to get our foot in the door. So, ladies and gentlemen, people, let's support grassroots organic ideas from the community. That's where the success of this project will start. And like I said before, and I'll say it again, heritage means birthright. Just not only by definition, we got to understand that this is our birthright. Yeah. But with a birthright comes responsibility. So we can't go to sleep. We got to pull up our shirt and get busy. Let's get busy. Community benefits plan and this oversight board, which have been somewhat like the icing on the cake, is something that needs to be supported. And we welcome support, we welcome members, and we definitely welcome collaborations, because that's what it's going to take, all of us or none of us. Thank you.
Thank you, good brother Daniel Landry. And just a piece of information, Daniel Landry is actually put together our community benefits package, a brilliant package. You can hit our website, www.nclfinc.org, and there's a link to look at the community benefits package at your leisure. Now we have one of a longtime Fillmore resident, Randall Evans, would like to say a few words.
Hello, my name is Randall Evans, and I'm 60 years old. I'm born and raised right here in the Fillmore. I never left. I've been a painting contractor, but I've always been a community activist. Let me give you a little history about why we got this problem. In the 70s, there was a conspiracy. You took certificate holders and you took the people from Jim Jones's church down to Guyana. You collaborate those people together, that's almost 1,000 residents. At that particular time, the conspiracy was to leave, get people out of the Fillmore. When that took place simultaneously, you had eminent domain set in, where they came and took our property. You had urban renewal in here. Okay, now let me fast forward for a minute and tell you why we have a problem of where we stand today. These are some of the people you don't see here today. You don't see the people that benefited from this building going up, like Minetta at 1300, like Black Bart, like Oganoff, like even the people at the little jazz club up the street. Somebody help me out. Sheba. There was almost a $4 million deal that took out of the municipal railway building. There was no connection with the community. It was just a promise. I have in my hand something what they call an LDA, Land Distribution Agreement, where we were supposed to be involved with community entrepreneurship and community participation. Now, I'm not on the board here yet, but when I found out yesterday there was going to be a press conference, I automatically assumed the position to come support the theory of what it means to come together overnight, just like what these brothers are talking about. Now, we could sit back and feel left out, but remember, if we're not going to ride together, then we're going to collide together. If they are eating, we're supposed to be eating. We're not eating. And this is a big building behind us. And why is it closed? Why are they fighting to have an opportunity to do the right thing? Because the city officials have cut a deal that don't include these brothers and sisters. And at the end of the day, that's where I fit in and the rest of you all fit in. This is just the beginning. As far as I'm concerned, we need to be in front of the businesses that are benefiting right now that we are not benefiting from. This is a small press conference today, but this just can't be the only press conference. This can't be the only time that we make this big stand right here. And I just want to let you know I support it and I'm with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Randall. We have another longtime resident of the Fillmore District. He's an icon in our community. You can catch his radio show at KPOO on Tuesdays. This is Mr. Bobby Webb.
Thank you very much. I'll make it quick and short. First of all, I would like to say that I was raised right here in the Fillmore since the age of 5. You can see how old I look now, so you know I've been here a long time. I feel, ladies and gentlemen, that if we do come together as a unit to be involved in who or whatever this building is supposed to be or whoever it is going out to, that we should know and we should have some say. I don't know the logistics of what's happening, so I really can't talk on it. All I know is if we come together as a unit, as one, and speak together and stick together, we should have some kind of interest in this building. We cannot let it go overseas or any place else, because there's people here that have money in the United States, and we can keep our businesses right here. So that's what I have to say, is that I would like to see the Fillmore stay the Fillmore and stay here at home, and for us to come together as a community and let City Hall know that they have a fight on their hands, and we're going to hang on in there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bobby. Bobby just recently blessed the NCLF with one of our events. We had the first annual Harlem of the West Fest over at the mini park down here right on Turk and Fillmore. Beautiful music. We look forward to doing it again next year. We have a community activist and longtime resident of the Fillmore, Mr. Kenny Johnson.
Hello, could everybody that's with the Fillmore come and stand with us
We need everybody to come and stand with us, please. Hello? Hello? Can we get people to stand with us? Come on, brothers. Come on, stand. Come on, stand with us. They taking pictures. It might be in the newspaper. We need everybody to look like we standing up. You know.
Don't be afraid. You're outside.
They need to see all of us. They need to see everybody.
Okay. My name is Ken Johnson, and I remember when Fillmore, up and down Fillmore, was all black businesses. It was wonderful. You get anything you wanted. You didn't have to go downtown. It was all it was a black, really a positive feeling. Made you feel like you wanted to be somebody. Now all that, the city tore all that down. Tore all that down. A lot of people lost everything. Now what about all that property and stuff that was lost? The city owes us this building and give us an opportunity to run it. We have the most brilliant people that can run the building. We have Maddie Scott here. She just got an award. David Hardiman, he just got an award. A music professor at San Francisco State, and he's trying to bring music classes here and have a campus here. So I'm sort of nervous, so bear with me. The city built this building to revitalize the Fillmore. It failed. Now they need to give the community an opportunity to work this building, to bring back that Harlem of the West that the community built before. It wasn't the city who built the Harlem of the West, it was the people. It wasn't the city. The city is the one who tore it down and left the city and left the community with nothing but lies. So I feel we need the same treatment as the Chinese and the Japanese, and the Chinese got the library for $1. Now they have all kind of money for the illegal brothers and sisters that are here. I ain't got nothing against them, but they got money allocated to them, and they're illegal. Now what about the community, the people who helped build this country, who helped build this city? And folks, we have to come together. After this meeting, we have to come together to figure out if we need to go down to City Hall and demand the keys for the building. We can run the building. You know, who came out of Fillmore? Willie Brown, all these different people came out of Fillmore. Mary Rogers, Carlton Goodlett, Judge Colbert, Bobby Webb, Emmett Powell, a lot of doctors, Dr. Haynes. We have all these intelligent people that came out of Fillmore. Even the president of the board of supervisors came out of the Fillmore. Now you mean to tell me we ain't got the people who run the building? We have the qualified people to run the building. All we need is a chance. All we need is a chance to do this. So our next step, I really feel, is for us to get together after this meeting and formulate a plan of action where we all can go down to City Hall and demand that we get control of this building, because it's ridiculous for this big old building to be here empty. This building could have all kind of different training programs in here. We could have culinary class, all kind of classes to train our untrained young brothers and sisters into some marketable skills. The building being closed is a real slap in the face, you know, after what has happened to the Fillmore. If those of you who know what happened, this young man here knows about the Fillmore, what it was at one time, and all the people who lost everything they had. Now they owe us an opportunity, to run the building. So with that, and I have a letter from Dianne Feinstein that's saying that
if we can, she supports us. She supports us all the way. I'm happy to support the project and ideas of a learning center and the Fillmore Heritage Building. Just inform me with the progress, and know that I am with you, and I'll do whatever I can. So with that, we need to come together and formulate some kind of plan of action to not let somebody else come in and buy the building, but for the city to give us an opportunity to run the building and bring back that spirit of Harlem of the West.
Thank you, Kenny. Thank you. We have two more speakers coming up. We got two more speakers coming up, and after that, we'll take questions from the media. Next up, we have a longtime resident of the Fillmore District, community activist. This lady has done some powerful work in our community, and she has a few words for you. Miss Maddie Scott.
My heart is sad today because I'm looking at Fillmore. I raised my children here. They went to school here. I lost my son here, along with a lot of other mothers and people that's here that lost our children to gun violence. We continue to lose our children to violence because of not having enough economic empowerment in our own community. Fillmore was a promising community when I grew up in it. We didn't have to go anywhere for anything, for anybody. We had all our restaurants, shops, churches. I went to the skating rink right across the street. I went to our own bakery down the street, the cobbler house. We had our own juke joints, so we didn't have to go to Nob Hill. We had our own Booker T. Washington Hotel, and we had the Booker T. Center. We had everything here in Fillmore until Justin Herman and his folks a long time ago got together and wanted to annihilate the promises and the prosperity that we had. We didn't have to take, we had banks right here where we banked in our own damn community. Excuse my French, because I'm mad. I'm mad because 4 young men just got shot last week down there on the corner. Why? Because there's no economic empowerment for our children. Because people are being steadily displaced. And you want to call this Fillmore Heritage Center? And we don't own anything in it? Really? You got black pictures up here on the wall of all the famous jazz legends, but yet you won't give us this building? I'm demanding we get the building for nothing. I'm demanding we get the building for nothing. They owe this to us and much more. We have given up this whole community for everybody to come out, everybody else to come here and prosper while we don't. What are we going to have for our children? I want something for my grandchildren. I'm not going no damn way. I'm staying right here. I ain't going nowhere, and I'm going to fight until we get this building. We're going to get it for free. We ain't paying nothing for it. You gave everybody else a building for $1, and we're going to scream and holler at City Hall until we get it. We all in this together. We in it to win it. This time, the only way you're going to stop this violence is if you provide economic empowerment and opportunities for young black children who are growing up in this neighborhood. I'm not losing no more children. I'm not losing another grandson or grandchild. I'm tired of going to the cemetery. We want to go to graduations and not funerals. We have Mr. Hardeman here who could teach jazz lessons and music lessons to our children. You know, getting them off the street corner to do positive things. You mean to tell me you won't do that for us? You did it for everybody else. You did it for Japantown, Chinese Town, and everybody else town. But what about ours? It is time that we take this opportunity as a people together, all of us, and I mean all of us. We have our differences. Some of us have our differences, and that's okay. But this is serious now. This is a time that we must tell City Hall, you're going to give this to us. You gave everybody else everything. We don't have anything left in Fillmore. Nothing. There is nothing left in Fillmore for black people. McDonald's is not for us. I'm sorry. Charlie's on the corner is not for us. We need this and much more so that we can provide services and opportunities for our children so that they can have a future here in Fillmore, not feel hopeless but feel hopeful. It is time. We must stop this killing and start this healing. The only way you're going to stop it, the killing and start the healing, is with economic and empowerment and opportunities for young people and our families that live here. We're in this together. We're in it to win it. And we're going to win it. Thank you.
Thank you, Maddie. And I most definitely agree. I'm big on education and empowering our youth. We have another Fillmore resident. The man has done some powerful work. He works with people who are transitioning, trying to get back into work. He provides an excellent training program and a job placement program for those who want to get into the security field. It's a well-paying field. Chief Leonard Priestley has a few words for us.
I wasn't going to say anything. I just want to be here. But, you know, I've been listening to everything that's been said. First of all, you know, I would like to really push on us homeowners. Eddie Underwood back there standing up there. He still lives in the same house that he lived in since we went to elementary school together. And there's a bunch more of us that still own the houses that our parents gave to us or left to us. You know, so we have kind of like a interest in this community. When I went out to the military and I came back, the whole Fillmore was gone. They had torn out all the buildings. For 20 some odd years, that was empty. One of the first things I was able to do was put on a carnival on the corner of Sutter and Fillmore. But about 3 or 4 years before that, the carnival person told me when he walked through here and said, well, we can't put it on this lot because it's too big. This one's too rocky. And we're up and down Fillmore Street. But eventually, after 5 years doing it in other areas, he let me do it up there. And, you know, just a lot of things that we've done. Our organization has had the lease for the Fillmore Auditorium right after the Muslims moved out. We were there for a few years. And we just saw a lot of things happening in the community. We have an office on Fillmore and the Golden Gate because we just want to be in the community in a business sense. But whatever we can do, I really like to see us get together and do it. I was driving up Franklin Street the other night, and I was driving by and I saw all these kids in the window in a music class. So you're talking about a music class right there in this window right here. We could teach them something. They could see us doing different things in the situation. It's not that I just do security. I just found a niche where we can put a lot of people to train because we don't have no jobs. But we also do other things within the community, motor transport and other type of situations. So work with the military. There's a veterans program as well. But there's a lot of people still here in the community that are kind of in the back, that still live in the same homes that they grew up in. Dr. Dickey let me use his cafe up there that's been closed for over 30 years to start the Fillmore. I started the new Fillmore publication. Okay, I started it up the street, and I gave it to David Ish. So we've had a lot of things going on in this community, and I like to just support everything that's going on. And I appreciate the guys using the office to have their meetings and things of this sort. So whatever we can do as SPOA, we're willing to try. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Priestley. I got to applaud this program and all the work that he does, and he's a big supporter of the New Community Leadership Foundation, and we love him for it. Actually, we have one more speaker. We have the Right Honorable Reverend Townsend to have a few words for you. Then after Reverend Townsend, we'll take questions from the media. Reverend Townsend.
God bless everybody. Good to see you. Right and honorable. You give me some stuff I can't live up to and not sure I want to, you know. It's because when I start being that way, kind of admitting that I done got old. And I might as well be. Let me just say a couple of things to you about history so you really understand, and I just want to make, you probably do, but as an elder, I think it's my responsibility to make sure you understand. The fact that we are in the Fillmore is really an accident that was caused by circumstance and situation. Before, in 1940, there were 4,000 African Americans in San Francisco. By 1948, there was 40,000 and growing. What happened? The war happened. They needed people to work in the war industries. And so who did they didn't trust us with guns. So not everyone did they want to put in the Army. So they called us out here, men and women from places in the South, to work. The work was good. We were away from the oppressive South, and people came here. What the city leaders believed was that when the war was over, we would go back home. And we didn't. And in 1948, the Redevelopment Agency was created. The first Redevelopment Commission, one of its first presidents was Joe Alioto, who became mayor. So you have to understand that that was the move to get y'all out of here. And it started then, and it continued. And by the early mid-60s, it was underway. And we would have been out of here in about 3 or 4 years. But a lot of leaders, the late Mary Helen Rogers, Carmen Johnson, Leroy King, Mr. Cranshaw, some of y'all don't know these people, Charles Turner, Miss Hampton, I could go on and on and on. These great people decided to resist. They laid down in front of bulldozers. They went to court. I'm not going to give you the whole spiel because it's much longer than this. But they fought, and what happened then is we delayed it. But the way you got here is when they invited you out here, they would have had no place for you to live. But guess what? It just so happens that they had just sent the Japanese to concentration camps. And many of your families moved into the homes that they took from them. And that's why we got to be careful and make sure that we know where our potential allies are and who might support us in this effort. Everybody ain't our enemy. Because let me show you something. If it's going to sound familiar to you, they took the Japanese and they had to sell everything they had for 10 cents on the dollar. The largest nursery in California, down in Southern California, was bought from a Japanese family for 10 cents on the dollar. On Pine and Fillmore, there was a Japanese cleaners with a fleet of trucks. They owned their building, and they had to sell the fleet of trucks, the building, and all the cleaning equipment for $500. Does that sound familiar, what happened to us? They took $1 billion worth of property from black people here by declaring eminent domain. Get this, $1 billion worth of property. So what am I saying? That what is going on Fillmore Street, what's going on with Yoshis, is a transfer of wealth. It's a transfer of wealth. Before urban renewal, Negro removal, there was wealth represented on Fillmore Street in its property and in its businesses. That's wealth. Most of y'all don't spend your money on wealth. You spend your money on consumer items. Consumer items depreciate in value. When you drive it off the lot, you go around the block, come back, they ain't gonna give you what they just took from you. Because it depreciated. Wealth appreciates. The business you buy today, you can sell 6 months, 6 years, 9 years for more than you paid for it. It appreciates in value. We've got to understand that we need to start putting our money in other places. And this is the kind of thing that we need to start looking at. Because this is absolutely essential that if we're going to turn this around, we have to do that. So this is a matter of wealth. Wealth was represented on Fillmore Street in those days. It's still represented on Fillmore Street. There's still great wealth. There's the only one major difference. Who owned it then and who owned it now are not the same people. That's the biggest problem and the biggest issue that we have. So I want us to make sure that we understand the fight that we're in. It's not an issue of wealth. It's not an issue of folk not liking you. It's an issue of wealth. Very simply, we live in the first period in history where the wealthy covet the homes and the neighborhoods of the poor. And when we always wanted what they have, but we couldn't do nothing about it because we ain't got no money, no power. But when people with money and power want what you have trouble. And understand, and I'm through, this fight is large. I just, weekend before last, last weekend I was in LA. Same thing happening in South Central. Folk that wouldn't drive through South Central when I was growing up are moving in. I was just in D.C. D.C. Y'all know what, thank you, baby, Chocolate City. At one time, 65% African American. Now it's about 25% and sinking. Atlanta is less than 50% black. You know, the Mecca, it's gone. We've got to understand the fight we're in. And then finally, it's an issue of genocide. Yeah, I know you don't like that word. You may think I'm too harsh standing in front of one building, but this is just a symptom. I'm gonna leave you with this. Two things. One, Tuesday the 14th, we'll be at the Board of Education asking the Board of Education to declare a state of emergency for black children. Our test scores just came out. The statewide testing just came out, and African American children scored at about a 6% efficiency rating, ain't that it? We finished lower than children in special ed, and in English we finished lower than children with English as a second language. Genocide. We just got the statistics from the health department. The average Latino male in this city lives to be 85 years old. That's the lifespan. Average white man, 83. Average Asian man, 82. Average African American male, 57. Now, I just gave you all that. I ain't got to add it up for you so you know what that means, do I? We are in trouble, and it is a fight that you can't get in and get out of. If you're going to get in it, stay in it. And folk have got to quit sitting around hoping somebody else does it, because that ain't going to happen unless you do it. Amen? God bless y'all. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Townsend. Always a pleasure. Before we get off into questions, I realize we got a lot of people that want to speak, but we know we are all on the schedule, so I apologize for those who aren't able to speak. But most definitely, we encourage you to collaborate with the New Community Leadership Foundation so we could start pushing things forward. I love the way that Reverend Townsend kind of capitalized everything, because it's all about community cooperation. In order to get things moving, to get things going, we have to work together despite our differences. And that's one of the main points, one of the main messages that we're pushing here today. I realized I didn't introduce myself. My name is Hugh Gregory, aka Huey MC. I'm a longtime resident of the Fillmore District, hip-hop artist. Reverend Townsend talked about how soldiers came into the Bay Area to work in the shipyards, and my mother and father, my father was in the Navy, my mother and father met here in San Francisco, and then came me. So, I mean, a lot of us spring forth from those histories. I'd like to thank Reverend Townsend and the other speakers for kind of breaking down a lot of the history of the Fillmore, kind of giving a background on what we're dealing with. In order to stop this erosion, we have to work together. That's one of the main keys. We need to stay galvanized, we need to stay united, and we need to push forward despite our differences. We have common goals. We need to focus on the common goals, not our differences. So, my name is Hugh Gregory. I am the CEO of the New Community Leadership Foundation. Majid Crawford, Jamil Patterson, where Elmer at? Elmer, what's your last name, Elmer? Elmer Smith, and some of our members couldn't make it today. Lily, excuse me, sir? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And so I got Jamil here. I'm gonna call Majid up. We're open up for questions. And so you got any questions, go ahead. We'll do our best to field them right now.
questions, we can wrap it up.
If we don't have any questions, we'll go ahead and wrap things up. Yes. Right. Yes. And that's part of the new Community Leadership Foundation's outreach program. And we are making consistent efforts. Rico Hamilton is another member. He couldn't make it today, but he also works for the Street Violence Intervention Program. So we coordinate with SVIP and other organizations to outreach to the youth, outreach to at-risk adults as well. So we're doing our best to curb. We're doing what we can do to curb some of the violence, some of the recidivism, going back and forth to jail. So this is why we're asking for support, because it takes a whole village, as they say, to raise a child. It takes a whole community to solve these problems. And right now, you know, we are a lone organization that are fighting against these things, but we need the whole community behind us. Any questions from the media? Oh, excuse me? We don't have any business cards right now, but our website are on those cards. Yes, ma'am. That's a real hypothetical, you know, because the thing is, it's like this. The city is looking to sell the Heritage Center. They want to make money. At this time, nobody from this community right now is in a position to actually buy this place. So this is why we're pushing the oversight board, so we could keep whoever does buy this place accountable to doing things like you said, opening up schools.
6.5 million.
Okay. Well, you know, I'd like to invite you to one of our future open meetings, and we could sit down and we could talk about all that and put our heads together on it. But right now, right now we're pushing with our community benefits package. It's the most logical approach, and right now it's the approach that we're in the best position to move forward with. But like, we are open to all ideas, so we invite any and everybody, all residents of the Fillmore, new and old residents of the Fillmore. I like to emphasize that because this is a changing community, and we want to work with all of the residents, all of the business owners. The main thing, community consciousness, heart, you know, doing what is morally right. You know, a lot of people focus on the dollar. Any more questions? If there's no more questions, we're gonna go ahead and shut everything down. We'd like to thank everybody for coming out again, and we'll keep everybody posted on the progress of the oversight board. Again, applications will be taken from today, November 2nd, to December 4th. And you can apply online as well, and we have hard copy applications with us right now if anybody wishes to take one.